what's going on in dining services with Corey Young, and I'll just turn it over to you.
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me. And for those wondering where our director is, Ty, he's actually up in Brooksby Village, which is one of our sister communities in Massachusetts. And he will be there all of this week, and he's just kind of touring the facility and seeing how their dining operation runs. So he will be back next week on Monday.
Okay.
So I do have some updates in dining that I'd like to talk about. First off, we are going to have a final farmers market. It's going to be this Friday from 11 to 2, and that will be right behind the country store on the patio outside.
Okay.
Those have been a big hit, so this is going to be the final one for the year, so hope to get a good turnout for that. We have the Thanksgiving Day hours. Residents have been asking what the hours are going to be. They will be posted next week's menu, but I can just tell you that they will be from 11 to 2 in all of the dining venues. So they will be modified hours 11 to 2 inside each of the venues. We will be having our annual Thanksgiving meal purchase. Residents, if you're not familiar with what that is, we actually put together an entire Thanksgiving meal that we actually sell. Dining Services puts it together. The flyer should be going out today, and the total price of the meal would be $135.
For how many people?
That information will be on the flyer. Michael's finishing it up right now. I know it's for a full family, but I don't know the exact number for what that would be, but it will be on the flyer.
Okay.
For there. And then finally, this month we have our Night on the Town, Thursday, November 17th. If residents aren't familiar with that event, that's our celebratory event of when Green Spring opened, I believe back in 1998. So we have a great anniversary coming up. What does that mean for the dining rooms? It will have a special menu, an upscale menu. We'll do decorations. It's just a fun event for residents to come and enjoy. I've been a part of so many of them. I remember they're always very popular, and the menu is always a big hit, so we're looking forward to that as well. And finally, just as a little FYI for residents, the Woodland team asked me to pass this along, and I can definitely concur with them, having come from Woodland Skies. Next week, the Green Spring players are putting on their play, and if you do plan on coming for dinner service that week when the play is going on, they highly encourage you to make reservations for that day, because there's a lot of residents that come in from across the campus wanting to come and see that event. So you always want to have a reservation for that event to make sure that you can get in and get out, especially on the day that you plan on seeing the play.
Right.
So finally, I guess the only other update I'd like to talk about more in depth relates to the Potomac Cafe. So next Monday, which is the 14th, we're going to be relaunching the Potomac Cafe. So what does that mean, relaunching the cafe? Unfortunately, some residents have taken that to be a negative thing, that we're relaunching the cafe, that we're changing so many of the operations and how things work in the cafe. But actually, it's going to be a great event. It's going to involve a lot of changes that residents have been complaining about with us, and also what staff have been complaining about, because the cafe is the major venue where staff go and eat their meal as well. So some of the key things to highlight: the menu is going to change, not drastically, but it's going to have a lot of improvements on it. It's actually going to expand. We're going to be bringing in different soup options. Have 2 soups of the day, and we're actually going to, well, I don't know if I should reveal all the details because it's supposed to be a surprise, but I will say they're going to have a chili bar on the end of the salad bar there. They're going to have consistent pricing for all residents and staff. We're hearing a lot of comments. I go in the cafe one day and my price, I pay this. I go in the next day and the price is completely different. So we're going to have that pricing posted on each of the stations, so residents will know not only what something costs, but what comes with what. So does my sandwich come with something? Does my entree salad come with something? Does my burger come with anything? Am I going to know what I'm paying before I go to the register and all of a sudden, boom, I'm hit with a price that I don't know where it came from? The other rumor that I want to address, and I want a special shout out to Miss Susan Gerhardt's been very helpful in being like a bridge between the residents' concerns and with us, and some of the concerns that she's brought back. We're kind of flabbergasted about how residents could get that from the flyers that we put out. So one I'd like to talk about is that residents are saying that we're trying to ban people from the cafe, that we don't want residents to eat in the cafe anymore. And that's specifically related to the carry-out side. part of the changes in the cafe is starting on Monday the 14th, you'll no longer be able to mix your dine-in and carry-out from the front of the line. So let me just give you an example of what's happening now. A resident will go in and they'll get some of their items dine-in, some carry-out. They'll get a dine-in beverage and a dine-in beverage to go. There a lot, and this is not all residents, but some are not following the guidelines. So typically when you get a carry-out, you're allowed to get 7 items. Some residents are getting 13 items in the carryout, and it's just, and they're just using the flex meal to say, well, it's my flex meal, so I should be able to get kind of whatever I would like. So that's going to be changing, but getting back to my original point about the carryout and being able to eat. So let's say there's a lot of residents who are saying, well, I like to get my food in the carryout boxes. It's easier for me to compile them, and then I like to transport them to the table and eat with my friends. Are you telling me that I can no longer do that? And the answer is no. You can eat the meal wherever you want. So if you want to get carryout, the only thing that's going to change is you can't get some in the carryout boxes and some in the dine-in. If you want to get your whole meal in carryout and then go to the table and eat with your friends, you're more than welcome to do that. So we're not trying to say that if you're getting carryout, you're kicked out and you can't eat anymore. So that's one of the biggest rumors I want to address to make sure residents understand. The other concern was we're asking residents to make sure that they have their full meal before they check out, because we're finding that some residents and some staff as well will get half the meal and then go and sit down and eat some of it and then come back and get more. And the cashier can't really track who's already checked out and who's coming back for more, and if they still have anything left from the original items that they're supposed to be getting. So theoretically, because it gets so busy, a staff or a resident could check out and come back in and get a completely new meal, and no one would even know. You wouldn't even tell. So the concern was, well, I have trouble fitting everything on a large tray to get everything to the register. We'll have assistants that will be able to help those residents. I mean, I used to work in the cafe, and this is how we did it. We would assist residents who needed help with the tray to bring everything over to the register. As long as you have all your items at the register and then check out, you don't have to have it at one time, but you can, say, store some up there on the tray, which we've done before in the past, then you're fine. You don't have to worry about, I think some residents are concerned, they're like, I'm going to drop the tray if you make me have everything on one. Well, we'll assist with that process. Some residents, obviously, in scooters and EMVs might have challenges doing that, so the staff will be there to assist. Myself, Michael, Ty, the management team from Fireside will all be there for the launch, so you can ask us any questions. My only last point is, if something sounds fishy, where, for example, we're trying to ban people from the cafe, feel free to come and talk to us. We're right downstairs. Everyone knows Mrs. Phyllis down in the dining services office. I'm there. Michael's there. Ty's there. Ask us the questions. Why are you doing this? Is this really true, what we're hearing? We'd be glad to answer any questions that you have. And of course, we'll be there for the relaunch to answer questions there as well, if you'd like to have any more concerns about it.
Yeah.
So I know there's been a lot of talk about cafe recently, so I just want to make sure residents understand it. You will like the new cafe. It's going to be, we've been working hard on changing a lot of things for the better.
I rarely eat there, but people have mentioned to me the fact that sometimes the young people who are fixing the sandwiches or the salads are not quite trained enough.
Right, and again, a lot of concerns about portion control. You know, a lot of residents are saying they just dump the food on my plate. It's a huge whopping portion. I mean, I tell them, you know, I want a small amount of these potatoes or a small amount, and what I get is a huge pile of food. And so there's been training. You know, we're going to be there, and we're going to be working one-on-one with the staff, making sure they understand what a portion is, so everyone consistently gets the same portion. So if our first resident walks through and gets, say, the portion is 6 fried shrimp, that's the portion for the day. The next resident doesn't come through and get 13 fried shrimp. So we're trying to make it consistent and fair for all the residents and all the staff as well. So yeah, it's been a big project since coming into my new role, and since Ty's been on board. It's probably been our main focus upstairs is the cafe.
Did you solve the flow problem that I used to hear a lot about?
We will on the 14th. I think you'll see the difference on the 14th. I think it's going to speed up things as well, what we've identified in some of the problems of where it's happening. We moved some of the items that were originally on the salad bar behind the line to make it quicker. And again, this is why we want to be there on the relaunch. There may be something that we think is going to work really well, that when we go up there on the relaunch day maybe isn't the best option. So we can correct it right there and say, okay, we really need to move this moving forward. Yeah.
Okay. Anything else happening?
That's pretty much it. Like I said, Ty will be back next Monday. I will be spending some time in Woodland Skies today and also another day this week, and also in Jefferson. Ty has definitely identified he wants me to spend equal amount of time in all the dining rooms, so I'm going to make sure I do that. I know a lot of our attention has been up in the cafe, so we'll do that as well.
What about catering? I know we have new staff in catering.
Yes, catering. So that will help me bridge into where's G? Yeah, I always hear the quote, where is he? He's disappeared. G's actually, he has not left Woodlands, although he hasn't been there quite often. He's with catering right now. What happened is he originally left to help onboard our new catering manager. His name is Patrick. And I don't know if all residents know, G came from catering, so he has a lot of experience in that department. Well, once he felt that Patrick had got his training, Patrick's assistant, her name is Milagros, been here for quite a long time, actually stepped down from full-time to a part-time position and is only going to be working 2 days a week. So that left another void in catering. So then G was pulled back in to catering. So he's been pulled back twice. So now he's trying to onboard and train our new catering supervisor, whose name is Amy. And she actually comes from the fireside dining room. So that's where he is right now. And as soon as all these onboardings and trainings happen, then G will be back over to Woodland Skies. So there's definitely heard the concerns from residents about some issues in catering that we're looking at addressing. And that's where G's working on right now with that too.
Okay. We have about another minute if you have anything you'd like to add.
I guess just kind of go back to my original point with when a letter comes out or something comes out from dining that has change on it. I know a lot of times when you hear the word change, it's very hard for all of us to take, not just residents and staff, but there's always reasons and things that are going on behind the scenes for why a change is coming out. God knows in dining, we don't just want to throw a change out and not say anything and just say, well, here it is, because the residents want to know the reasons behind it. So if there's anything that needs clarification, like I said, feel free to come to us and we'll explain the steps we took to make the decision and why the change is happening.
Okay.
And then I guess real fast, I used to work, and many work in Woodland Skies. Just a special shout out to Mrs. Gaffney. Pip Gaffney is over in Garden Ridge, and I hear she's coming back this week, so we wish her the best, and hope you're feeling better. Looking forward to seeing you back in Woodlands.
Okay.